We all struggle with things in life, my brothers and sisters out there. And the main thing that I wanted to be able to reassure you of is this. When you feel like you need to go to a fridge because the only thing you feel like you're able to cope with is in there. Now, I'm not talking about just food. It can be alcohol. It can be a lot of different substances that we may not even really realize that we're using or that we're doing. Sometimes it could be something as obvious as drinking. Sometimes it can be something a little less obvious, like we eat our emotions, or we simply take our anger out in different ways, or passive aggressive. We don't talk about things. Instead of you holding up all that anger, all that frustration you have inside, I'm here to tell you this. There will be times, my brothers and sisters out there, where you may genuinely feel like you're uncertain of who you are, whether you don't know or you need somebody to remind you who you truly want to be. And in those moments, I want you to remember this one thing only above anything else. You got to where you're at today because you didn't give up. Let that sink in for a second. I'll repeat it one more time. You got to where you are today because you did not give up. Stop looking at every little thing in your life and examining it, or letting it paralyze you, or letting it change who you are because you feel like I'm not good enough, because you feel lost, because you're struggling to understand. And I'll be the first to admit I'm not perfect. I'll be the first to admit there are a lot of things that I could work on, that I could fix about myself, about others in my life. But you know what I realized? In doing all of that, the only person who was truly suffering was myself. Now that I'm at where I'm at in life, no, I'm not where I want to be at 100%. No, I'm not perfect. But what I do know is this. There's going to be nothing that will stop me from getting to where I need to be at. The position that I will be at, to take care of my family, to make sure they have everything they need, everything they want. And for those who truly understand what it feels like to be in the dark, to have the weight of the world on your shoulders, do not allow that to wear you down. Dig deeper. Understand God put you here and He's testing you for a reason. You are stronger than you understand. But if you do not believe that, if you do not have the heart to commit, because it's not a once a day thing. If I were to be wishy-washy about it and be like, you know what, today I feel like giving more effort, tomorrow I don't know how I'm going to feel. If that was my mindset, I could tell you right now, I would not be sitting in front of you. I would not have a camera in front of me and be looking at you guys and being able to talk to you the way that I am. I know I look a little rough. I haven't been sleeping, if I'm being honest. I haven't been doing a lot of things, if I'm being really honest. And the reason for that is this. I was getting some errands done, getting a couple things done, and I really looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, okay, what have I achieved in my life? How am I going to take care of my family? And that's a main stressor, if I'm being honest, lately, because they're not getting any younger. I'm not getting any younger, right? Things aren't exactly going according to plan like I wanted. But then I realized and I remembered, if I allow that negativity, if I allow those thoughts to be what controls who I am today and every other day after that, then my family will never be taken care of, because I'm always going to be in the what if. I no longer want to be in the what if part of my life, my brothers and sisters out there. And that is what I want for you all, to be in the part where you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, you know what? My situation is what it is. The hardest thing you can do is accept your reality. You look around, we're always trying to find different ways to distract ourselves, whether that's through a video, through a TV show, through a movie. I can't tell you how many times when I was at the most unhappiest in my life, because I was so stressed out every single day, to the point where I'd be like, oh my God, I'm not getting anywhere. I'd make decisions out of desperation, which is never a good thing. I'm going to tell you right now, that has led me to a bunch of trouble that literally could have all been avoided if I just would have continued on my path. Made decisions out of desperation. Started looking for quick fixes. There is no such thing as a quick fix. There is no such thing as, if I do this, everything else will be okay. That's not how things work. And in my head, I thought it was. Now I realized you can lean on people for support, but you need to be very careful with who you trust. You need to be very careful with who you lean on. Very careful with who you share your life with. If you are just opening up to anybody and everybody just because they seem nice, or because they told you you can talk to them, or they asked you questions, you are losing part of you. I heard this the other day, and it was, if you are celebrating early for a victory or a battle that has not been fought, then you will never truly understand what it is you need to do. Now, what that meant at the time confused me, and then I heard it said a different way. If you are sharing your ideas, your goals, and your plans for the future with other people, it's going to give you a little feeling of self-gratification, if you will, because you said it out loud when you still haven't done it. You still have a lot of action to take. So then you pause and you think, wait a minute, I'm talking about all these things that I want to do, and it feels great, but you're not doing them. You will find if you stay quiet a little while longer and you push yourself a lot harder, you'll be able to get done the things that you didn't know you could get done as quickly as you could. You'd be able to do a lot more, and you would still think, wow, like, is this really how I am and who I am? Why do I say that? Because that was me. I used to always talk about every little thing in my life, thinking that for some reason people cared. And most of the time people were only asking me questions because they wanted to get ahead. Most of the time people were only asking me things, not because they really cared, because they want to know if they could get something out of me, use me for a situation, or just take from me. When I realized that, it changed my perspective on a lot of things. And I became jaded, very jaded. I wasn't myself. I wasn't who God intended me to be. I was always defensive, always aggressive, for reasons I didn't have to be. And now things are different. I'm not saying people are perfect or the world's changed. I just know that I have. I know that without a doubt, I am not that same person anymore. There are times where I get in my own head, yeah, I'll admit that still. There are times where I think, would it be easier if I were to drown out the silence, to give up, to not make videos anymore, to go back to trying to find some work and hope and pray that a job or something deems me enough to be able to make a living wage, or to be able to work 2 or 3 jobs potentially just to be able to have rent and food for my family. And then I thought to myself, if I'm going through this struggle right now, it's because this is my last trial before I get to where I was meant to be at. And that's what pushes me every single day. That's what allows me to get in front of this camera and talk. Even on days where I feel like I look horrible, even on days where I don't feel the best, I still push myself. Because if I don't push myself, there's nobody else that's going to. You can ask for help from anyone and everyone, but if you do not show how determined you are on something, why would anyone else care to invest in you? It's like the saying goes, if you're a business, but you don't have a business plan, why would a bank or anyone else give you money if you're even unsure of what you plan to do? My brothers and sisters out there, nothing is ever perfect. But you know what I realized? It doesn't have to be. You just need to appreciate the moment. You have to understand who you are as a person. You need to understand what you feel inside and what is your driving force. Because once you identify that, nothing and no one will be able to stop you. Maybe it will deter you for a little bit. You may be frozen a little bit in time. But then you have to remember, if you give up now, look back at how far you came. Remember the times where you prayed to sit where you're sitting today. Remember the time that you begged God and everything else in your life, if you were just to get a sign, if you were just to get this, whether it was a job, a car, a career, a family member, a relationship, whatever it is, all those times that you begged, if you forgot what it is to have faith and to follow blindly, take this moment to realize you are good enough. Be happy with what you have and who you are, and be grateful for every day you get to wake up and grow. My brothers and sisters out there, do not look for ways to numb your pain. Do not look for times that you cannot keep. Do not make promises that you will not save. You know, I used to always think if I gave my word to somebody and said I'll keep it, it'd be easy. It's not. When you give your word to the wrong people, it's one of the hardest things to keep it. But if you have integrity and you want to be more, it doesn't matter how hard it is. You can do it. I believe in you. And I want to tell you this. No matter how bad your situation is, it's never too late. If you are still breathing and above ground, you fight. And you fight like there's no tomorrow. You do not give up because times get hard. You do not give in because everybody seems to be pushing you down. And you never blame others for your circumstances. We all make decisions that lead us here, my brothers and sisters out there. So I'm going to leave you with this. If you truly believe everything that has happened to you is just because, then I hate to be the one to inform you, but you will never get what you want out of life. But if you understand to accept God has a plan for us all, and above that, that you yourself matter and you're here for a lot of reasons, if you accept that, my brothers and sisters out there, life will change quite drastically for you. So I can pray you can overcome your emotions now, your feelings that you may have in the future, and the curses that you may throw out even tomorrow. And remember this: when God wants his best and strongest to be tested, it's always for a purpose, even if we may not understand why. So I pray that your suffering, I pray that your hurt ends and you discover that purpose, because you're worth $1 million. And I pray you know that. Thank you, my friends, and have a great rest of your day.